Shehu Abdullahi Wakaso. Shehu Abdullahi Wakaso. Can you hear me? Hello, Shehu, you can unmute.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, well done.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, we have started the class before, but the network went off. So I'm going to start again. Abdullahi was
Okay.
with us, but I've just sent a message on the mail again to see if he can join us. So I started with you see my message on the WhatsApp group.
No, I did not. For today?
Yes, I sent it since yesterday.
Yeah, I saw it, yes, sir. Saw it, yes, sir.
Okay. So I asked you to read up page 22 to 50.
Yeah, exactly, sir.
So I hope this guy will join us. I don't know what is wrong with my okay. So I started with physics of lasers. And I
Yes, sir.
said that at the end of this lesson, students will be able to explain the concept of stimulated emission of radiation and differentiate it from spontaneous emission. Describe the need and method of pumping, list the characteristics of the active medium for lasers, describe the different types of lasers, and also describe the important application of laser. So I said that the name laser is an acronym for light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. And I also said that most of the man-made sources of light are the solid and gases that are heated to high temperatures. So when we talk about such man-made sources of light, we're talking about, for example, we have the incandescent bulb, which his working principle is the heating of the tungsten filament. And in the case of the mercury tube light, the gas is heated. The gas is heated. The energy of the heating source is absorbed by the atom or molecules of the solid or gas, which in turn emits light. So when this solid or liquid or gases are heated, they emit the atoms emit energy. So by that, light can be seen. So the basic mechanism of the origin of light from within gas molecules, liquid and solid is similar in many respects to that from an individual atom. So what we are talking there is that solid, liquid, and gases are the basic mechanisms of the origin of light. So, and the process of emission and absorption of light from atoms can be understood in terms of Bohr's atomic model. But mind you, it is Albert Einstein that actually worked extensively on that. So we said, according to quantum theory, according to the theory, the energy of an atom or a molecule can take on only definite or discrete values. These are known as the energy levels of the atom. And I said that the transition of an atom from one energy level to another level occurs in what we call quantum jump. So if an atom is in ground state and it jumps, it gains energy and jumps to another state, it is called quantum jump. This was one of the basic assumptions of Bohr's theory. On the basis of this presumption, Bohr postulated that light is not emitted by an electron when it is revolving in one of its allowed orbits, and hence it has a fixed value. He said light emission only takes place when the atom makes a transition from an excited state to a lower energy. Just as if something is up and it comes down. So the difference between the up and down is a release of energy. So the difference to a lower state, the frequency of the emitted energy radiation is given by the energy of the initial state, that is the higher state, to the lower state equals to HF or HV as the case is, where E1 is the energy of the initial orbit, EF is the energy of the final orbit, V is the frequency of the emitted light, and H is the Planck's constant. So let us consider two energy. Okay, let us consider two energy level of an atom. Let the energy of the lower energy be E1, and that of the upper level be E2. And we say that an atom lying in level E2 we tend to make a transition to level E1. That means it's coming from a upper level to a lower level. So it is coming to a lower energy level. So such emission process is known as a spontaneous emission because it occurs in the absence of any external stimulus. That is, it is not forced to do that. But the photon emitted is spontaneous emission, so we have it to be the difference between E2 minus E1, while its other characteristics such as momentum, polarization will be arbitrary. We also say that the light emitted by ordinary sources results due to spontaneous emission. So ordinary light that you see around is as a result of spontaneous emission. And we also say that when we're talking about emission, we can also talk about absorption. Absorption of energy or photon can also take place so that an atom can jump from its ground state to a higher energy level, from the ground state to a higher energy. That is what we call excitation. I guess you are hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
Good. So it can jump from one energy level to a higher energy level. Now let us consider atom that is in, okay, I said it can get excited to the upper level E2. I've explained that. So emission is the opposite of absorption. As it is having a spontaneous emission, it can also have absorption. Now consider an atom is in the higher energy level, and a photon of energy HF, which is the difference between E2 and E1, interact, as in they interact. That means an atom in a higher energy level is not in ground state, is now interacting with a photon of energy, let's say HF or HV. Now the photon may trigger the atom in the upper level to emit radiation. You know, what we're talking about here is spontaneous, but here the photon energy is like a trigger. It is forcing the atom in the higher energy to emit another photon. Now, when the atom is already done, the photon, instead of being absorbed, may play the role of a trigger. Normally, we have said that there may be an absorption, there can be an emission as well. So in this case, you may think that, okay, if it's absorbed the energy, it will go to a higher energy level. But no, it can also act as a trigger to emit another photon. That means now we have a first photon that is interacting with an atom. Instead of it being absorbed, act as a trigger and emits another photon. That means we have a photon and an atom in a lower energy level. So as a result, the atoms fall into a lower energy level and an additional photon of energy is emitted. So we have two photons now. In this process, in this process of stimulated emission, so that process is simulated, is stimulated, it is forced. It is forced because there was a trigger. Something triggered, it was not a spontaneous or natural process. Just like a woman giving birth naturally, but there are some births that is induced. So that is what we have here. So they might induce a woman by actually probably giving water or something, but here the trigger here is what a photon. So now by introducing a trigger, it brings out an extra photon. So we have two photons and an atom in a lower energy level. So we said that both the inducing and the induced photon have the same energy. So we have two photons of the same energy. The light from pulsars is due to simulated emission of radiation. So your normal light that you see are from spontaneous emission of radiation, but the one that you see from lasers are stimulated. They are stimulated. Can you see the difference now? Can you see the difference? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yes, I said, can you see the difference? The light you see from your normal light are spontaneous emission, while the one you see on laser
Yes, sir.
are stimulated. They are forced. They needed a trigger. So I said here that notes that students should read up stimulated emission of radiation and Einstein's prediction. It is part of what I said you should read before on page 22 to 50. But this is of special importance, stimulated emission of radiation and Einstein's prediction. That is page 26 to 31. So whatever you read, you share with me on the WhatsApp group. Next week, elaborate on that. So now let's look at the prerequisite for a laser. A laser requires 3 prerequisites for operation. And one, I said here that there should be an active medium, which when excited, support population inversion and subsequently lasers. So the first one, we need an active medium. Then 2 is ensure population mechanism, ensure excitation that raises the system to an excited state. Then ensure that there is an optical cavity that provides the feedback necessary for laser oscillation. That you can read further on that from pages 32 to 39. In the upper week, we dwell more on this. So, and I said that, so you know these 3. So a laser required these 3 requests for its operation, an active medium. Are you noting that down? An active medium.
Yes, I'm looking.
A pumping mechanism, that is excitation that raises the system to an excited state, then an optical cavity. Now, I now describe briefly a typical laser here. I said in a typical laser operation, energy is transferred to the active material, which is raised to an excited state. This is where the active medium comes in, which is raised to an excited state, and ultimately lasers in various ways. The medium may be a solid. So the medium we're talking about here can be a solid, liquid, or gas, and it may be one of the thousands of material that have been found to be a laser. The process of raising the medium to the excited state is called pumping. So if you are asked what is pumping. The pumping is a process in which a medium is raised to its excited state. Do you get that?
Yes, sir.
I said pumping is the process of raising a medium from its ground state to its excited state. Now, in analogy to pumping of water from lower to a higher level of potential energy, some lasers are built as laser amplifiers. They need no optical cavity. Now, some lasers does not need this third stage. Most lasers, however, are laser oscillators. For sustained laser oscillation, some kind of feedback mechanism is needed. So some don't need this third prerequisite, but we have been told here that most lasers that we have around are laser oscillators, which require that optical cavity for as a feedback mechanism, so that, and you know that an oscillator needs a feedback mechanism. So the feedback mechanism is provided in the form of optical resonance cavity. In both laser amplifiers and oscillators, the first few quanta of radiation will probably be emitted spontaneously and will trigger stimulated emission. Now, the first stage may be a spontaneous one. It is now the emitted photon that is released spontaneously that we act as a trigger for a stimulated emission. So quickly, let's go to different types of lasers. I said lasers can be classified in various ways. I said one of these is in terms of their active media. As mentioned earlier, materials in all the three states of matter, which are solid, liquid, and gases, have been used as active medium to produce laser beam. So it can be categorized in terms of the active media. Further, lasers have also been constructed using semiconductors and plasma as active medium. So we can use the three states of matter in terms of the three states of matter, or semiconductors and plasma as active medium. So with this guide, you can classify lasers. So in the following, let us know about some of them with particular reference to the physical properties of the active medium and the pumping methods employed. So the ones that we mentioned the types of lasers in terms of this first one, which are the solid state layers, that is the neon YAG lasers. These are the solid state lasers. That's the YAG laser. The practical example is the YAG lasers. Most of these things are well explained in your course material. Because of the short time we have here, I can't be explaining that. So if you go back to your note, you will see all this. So if there's any gray area there, we will visit it in next class or preceding classes. So also we have the liquid lasers, also called organic dye lasers. If you read this, is in your note. And we also have the gas lasers, which is the helium neon lasers. And lastly, I will like to talk about the application of lasers. Lasers can be used in communication. It is well highlighted in your material. It is used for basic research. In fact, the application of lasers has opened a vista. It has opened another aspect of physics, which is what we call non-linear optics. It is studied as a whole. It's also used in medicine, especially during surgery. It is also used in industry, especially the drilling and welding, in making drilling and welding tools. And they are preferred because of their precision in industries. They are used because of their precision. It can also be used for environmental, as an environmental measurement. It can be used to measure some parameters in the environment, and it is used in photography, in particular holography. I guess in our next class, we'll be talking more about holography. So I will stop this here and go back to the course material. Let me try and open the course material first. Let me open the course material. So I have to stop sharing this so that I will show you what and what you need to actually read. Coming, I'm trying to get that done. So we've been able to dwell much on the course material. So I said we started from page 23. So we've been able to touch some of these, and you can see we have talked much about all this. So this is energy jumping from a higher energy level. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir. I can see.
Jumping from energy level, it is coming down. As it is coming down, it is losing a photon. And if it comes to this place, it's losing another photon, and it's going to, until it gets to its ground level. So if it is gaining, it will be absorbing photons. It will be absorbing. Once it is coming down, it is emitting photons. So basically, that is that about that. So this is what we're trying to describe. The first one, it is spontaneous, but in this case here, we have a kind of stimulated or forced emission. Now, these are the two photons, the induced and the inductor. So that is what they're trying to. So you can read about stimulated emission of radiation and Einstein's prediction here. So if you read that, you should be able to go through some of these illustrations, some of these equations here. We're still going to visit those equations probably in the 5th week or thereabouts. So try and go through all this,
Okay.
and
Okay.
up to, so prerequisite for lasers, I've been able to summarize that for you as well, go through it. So let me quickly go to page 50, where I said type of lasers are there. No, we are restricted to this material and material alone. So, and you should note this.
Yes, sir.
Is that when electromagnetic radiation interacts with matter, 3 types of process may occur. There may be a spontaneous emission, an absorption, and a stimulated emission. So note these 3. It might come out in your exam.
Okay, sir.
So we said here that light emitted by ordinary sources is due to spontaneous emission. So note that, but the one for lasers are for stimulated emissions. So note all these equations that has been summarized there for you. So note all that and practice all these questions.
Okay, sir.
I don't know why people don't come to class. So you can see that in our next topic, we'll be talking about holography, which is one of the application of lasers, which is the last one I mentioned. Is that also
Yes, sir.
in photography? So we'll be, next week, we'll be talking about holography. So that's that about that. So do you have any question?
For now, I don't have any question because what you've been saying, sir, are the course material. It's going together. So if
Yes.
doubt, I'll go back to the people.
Yes. What we normally do is that under normal circumstances, you are supposed to read the material, then
Exactly.
gray areas, you now bring it to class, you will now dwell on it. But in situations whereby like this, that I think I informed you yesterday that you people should read up, but since you people didn't read up, I've given a brief summary of what lasers are all about. So it is now left for you to go through your course material, page 23 to 50, do a summary
Yes,
of
sir.
everything, the gray areas, note it. So probably next week's class, you can still dwell on it. Then I think, okay, you can bring it up next week, but we'll still visit one or two cases in that material. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Okay.
So
Yes, sir.
since
Yes, sir. It's clear.
I guess this will be a good way to end the class. We meet. Where are you joining us from? From Sokoto, right?
No, from Lafia, sir, Nasarawa State.
Nasarawa, Lafia, beside Abuja.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's good. So I will be expecting you to promptly come to this class. It will help you a lot. Your TMA will start, and you can see the way I brought out
Exactly. You break everything down, sir.
Yes. So by the time you read it, and the video, the instructional video will be is available on the platform. So if you are stuck or you don't understand anything, you can always go back to the videos and do a study again.
Okay, sir.
So thank you for joining. And if you have any question, you can always join us on the WhatsApp page so as to deliberate more on it. So thank you. See you around next week, Friday.
Thank you, sir.
Next week, Monday, rather.
Thank you, sir. God bless, sir.
And the video is always
Yes.
available on YouTube. Hello? Hello?
No,
I said this video is always
it's
available.
breaking.
You can go back to your YouTube or to watch this video again.
Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.